Hello, 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 hello. Welcome everybody. This is going to be my first stream for chess. Well, I played chess for a little bit, and I actually had a different account that I was playing chess on for chess.com and whatnot. But long story short, I ended up forgetting the password and haven't played in years and all this thing, so I decided I was going to try to pick up chess again and kind of just work on chess. I'm not a very good chess player by any means. My rating is like 230s now, I believe, and I was at 305 as my highest so far, so I'm by no means a good chess player, hence why I have the title and just kind of why I was wanting to do this. Chess is kind of a big topic on Twitch after the tournament with Moist and Ludwig and multiple other people, and they kind of made chess into a large deal for live streaming. And I've always kind of been following chess a little bit, mainly because my brother got big into chess off of, I think, Twitch and watching Moist Critical. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to try to give it a shot again. It was my second time around and whatnot, so here I am. So I decided, you know what, instead of just kind of doing it all by myself, I'm like, you know, why don't I go ahead and live stream a few of these study sessions or chess playing, just because why not, you know, why not? So that's kind of what I'm going to be doing for this first stream. I don't know how long we're going to be doing the stream. I'll still figure out, you know, time length and whatnot for these episodes, but as of right now, I'm planning to do this either once a month, or sorry, not once a month, either once a week or every other week. And at the worst case scenario, it would be once a month, like my novel stream is going to be once a month, and my novel stream episode is going to be at the end of this month, if anyone was interested in that. So, long story short, I don't know how often I'm going to be doing these episodes, but I figure I might as well do it on live stream, because why not, type of thing. So today's live stream, I'm going to be focusing on openings, as I kind of been just playing around with movements and doing kind of my own thing with some very general knowledge I know about chess openings. Even I don't necessarily know the exact opening of what I'm playing, or the exact, I don't know the exact openings I have been playing, or if I even have been playing any openings that are known openings by players and have names and whatnot. You get what I'm saying. So I'm going to be learning some of the more classic openings and beginner openings, and watching a few videos about these openings and just about how to open the game of chess, because opening is extremely important to be able to get your pieces out and get your pieces playable in future moves, and make sure all of the information is going to be progressed in a good way. In other words, if you have a bad opening to a story, or if you do something wrong in your job at the start, you're not going to have a better result later on, unless if either it happens out of circumstances, you know, randomness, or you're just a legendary person. But I'm no legendary player, so I want to make sure that I get my chess openings down right away and just have a good understanding of what to expect when it comes to types of openings and openings that I should be playing. Of course, I'm going to be playing a few games of chess, probably live on stream here later on, or maybe in the middle after we learn an opening. I don't know yet exactly what we're going to do, but I am planning to play a few games of chess as well, where you can see my brilliant moves of the expert noob player that I am. So we're going to have to wait for this ad to build up, and probably not going to be able to skip it, because YouTube has gone on to deciding to do a whole bunch of ads. So yeah, that is all fun and games for sure. We'll go ahead and skip this. Anyway, enough blabber blabber. I think we should go ahead and get into the first thing that I want to talk about. Obviously, I'm going to be playing on chess.com for all of this. It's been the thing that most Twitch streamers, I believe, play with. So why not go ahead? And one funny thing I would like to mention, the games that I have won, and I don't necessarily know if I should be proud about this or not, but I won in like 5 or 6 moves. And it wasn't because I was able to do a 4, 6, 5 move checkmate and win the game that way. It was because the player was doing some really, really weird lessons. Or not lessons, really, really weird moves. So I was able to basically kill their queen, or kill their rook, or kill, their bishop, and kill another bishop, or kill another knight. And the game was just totally lopsided. But the game that I was very close in winning, unfortunately I was not able to get, the accuracy of it, because I think you probably have to pay chess.com to get the accuracy for all of the lessons, and I'm not at the point where I think I should be paying for it. If later on I decide to stream more often on about chess, or if anybody finds it interesting, I can definitely be willing to do that. But I don't know the accuracy score of that game, but I don't think it's going to be very well, because we both made some major mistakes, and I was able to capitalize on the mistakes, and I almost was able to get a draw out of the game, just because he wasn't able to find a checkmate, and I was kind of just running around the board trying to at least prolong the game. But it ended up not really working out, and I lost that one. I also lost another game where I had 11% accuracy, and my opponent had 13% accuracy. And after I saw that, I was like, ooh, okay, yep, expert chess player in the making, for sure. But my first game on the chess.com yesterday, I believe it was, I played this opponent here, and I told him that I was a beginner, and it put me like 350, I think, or something. And I decided, okay, I'll play, with the 350 or whatnot. And I got 56.7% accuracy, which for my first game, I didn't necessarily think was too horrible. And my opponent got 84.8% and lasted, 42 moves and whatnot. But I wasn't really knowing exactly what to do and what to play. But for my first game, I didn't think it was necessarily too bad. So anyway, but so far I'm just 2 wins and 3 losses with 0 draws for my games that I have played. But we're going to be learning some chess openings now. I just thought I would run that real quickly before we get into things, and we might be playing some puzzles on another chess stream, or maybe this chess stream, just depending on how everything goes and whatnot. But we're gonna go on to our first one here, just learning about some chess moves, or learning about some chess openings, so that I can actually know what to play and what to kind of expand upon, or what to build to have, well, a better opening, and therefore a better chess progression of how to move my pieces in a way that's, 1, efficient, and 2, allows for me to potentially win a game, or at least make a game go longer. I'm gonna take a quick drink of water real quick. So this first one is the most recognizable opening, and an opening that I've heard a lot when listening to chess streamers, such as, Hikura, I think is how you say his name. I always can't say his name unless I hear it. Gotham Chess, and a few other people who are regular Twitch and YouTubers who stream about chess. They talk a lot about London openings and counter movements to the London and just general thoughts about the opening. So it's a opening that I've heard a lot about, but I didn't necessarily know exactly what it looks like, and I didn't know exactly how to do it myself, or if I'm on the defensive, how to counteract the London system for chess openings. And I also want to make sure I know the understanding of white and black pieces when it comes to chess, because there's a lot of different openings that work for the black and don't work for the white necessarily, and then of course vice versa. So knowing that, you know, this certain opening doesn't necessarily work because of these reasons is also something I want to understand, so that my openings get better when it comes to chess, and at least have an approach and not just kind of doing what I think looks best or what I think might work better, or just kind of shooting from the hip, so to speak. I want to actually have a basic understanding of what I want to achieve with each move of my chess piece. So this first one is the London system. The London system, and I'm reading here, is the best chess opening for beginner. This is perhaps the most recognizable and fascinating opening in the last years. The reason that it is very easy to play and learn. You can develop your pieces to the same squares almost no matter what your opponent does. White gets a clear plan and a very safe position. Ron Helton, you need chess coach. My fees is $15 US per an hour. Yeah, I mean, having a chess coach would be fun, would be nice, but I don't necessarily know if I'm exactly at the ability to have a chess coach yet. I'm more just kind of, you know, learning from my hip, or trying to, yeah. I'm more just self-taught. I think that's the best word. I don't even know if that's necessarily the best thing, but that's just what I'm kind of doing for now. In this diagram, you can see white usually develops the pieces in the London system. All that will bring you is great results initially, but there is a huge drawback of this approach. It is not principled opening. You don't fight for the initiative here, and you get used to simplicity of it. At some point, you get bored with playing the same stuff repeatedly. Also, you won't get many different positions and pawn structures to practice. This will make your chess understanding quite poor and narrow, and will slow down your development drastically. In general, this is a decent opening, but it should never be the only system you play. Be more versatile. So, you know, they're talking about how it can get boring. I'm not ultimately at that stage of this opening getting boring because, well, I don't really know an opening yet. So, so the idea of it potentially being boring doesn't necessarily mean as much for the chess I'm playing now compared to, say, if I keep playing chess and if I keep doing, you know, this stream once a week and whatnot, and keep trying to learn, and, you know, a couple months from now, this opening could be a very boring opening as it talked about. But as of for now, I don't necessarily know an opening yet, so I don't know if that necessarily relates to the stage I am at now, but I think I'm just kind of talking in circles here, so we'll go ahead and look at this second one. The Danish Gambit. Traditionally, 1e4 is considered being the best move for those who start learning chess. It leads to open positions and therefore allows players to unleash their tactical power against the 1e5. I would recommend starting with the Danish Gambit. This is a very aggressive opening where white sacrifices 2 pawns for activity and quick development. It starts with 2d4 and 3c3. And you can see them showing it here. If black accepts the gambit, white bishop quickly let me reread that. If black accepts the gambit, white's bishop quickly occupy important diagonals and become extremely dangerous. So in other words, if they take the bait, if black takes the bait, and if you're opening it as white, which you get the first move, and black takes the bait of the 2 pawns, then you have a diagonals and a very good attacking structure on those pawns, and therefore potentially have a attacking structure of the queen and king later on. But we'll read what they have to say here. Better development, aggressively piece placement, and open positions promise an exciting fight. With this opening, you will get attacking prospects and learn that activity of pieces is more important than the material. Stronger opponents will know how to play against the Danish Gambit, so at some point you will have to find another weapon. But with this one, you will learn important concepts that you will need in the future. I don't know what points or ULO you would have to be able to counterattack this structure. And someone being able to recognize that this is a Danish Gambit. But I think at the points value I am at now, I don't necessarily think that players are recognizing openings. I could be wrong on this, but if I'm using myself as an example, I don't necessarily know what opening someone is playing. And that is kind of why I wanted to brush up on openings and be able to at least have an understanding. But we'll read this third one here. Italian game. This is best chess open. Okay, this is definitely one of the best openings for beginners. It leads to our sharp and interesting positions, teaches you how to seize the initiative, and overall is richer and sounder than the Danish Gambit. This opening is playable even at the Grandmaster level, which is quite great. It starts with 1 e4, e5, 2 in f3, in c6, 3 bc4, bc5, 4 point c3. And you see their chess progressions here and movements to the pieces and whatnot. As it states, white develops the kingside minor, kingside minor pieces to the most active positions and gets ready to take over the center with d2, d4 pawn push. Yeah. Black has to be cautious and precise to avoid getting into a bad position immediately. This fourth one is Smith-Morra Gambit, best chess opening for beginners. The silicon is is popular opening at any level, so we are likely to meet often. As a weapon against it, I would suggest the Smith-Morra Gambit. The idea is similar to the Danish Gambit. White sacrifices a pawn to get better development and open files for pieces. It starts with 1 e4, c5, 2 d4, cx d4, 3 point c3. When after 3, the next position appears. White's pieces are ready to enter the game and put pressure on the enemy position. Black has to be careful not to fall into many traps and tactical ideas here. Queen's Gambit, that's one I hear a lot about. Queen's Gambit is one of the classical ways to start the game and is also a good chess opening for beginners. It starts with 1 point d4, d5, 2 point c4. Even though it is called a gambit, it mostly leads to positional and strategic battles. Here you can learn about planning, maneuvering, improving, and placement of your pieces and other important concepts. The Queen Gambit has been played by all world champions, and so you can understand the ideas of it by learning from the very best players. The Scandinavian Defense, best chess opening for beginners. The Scandinavian Defense begins with 1 e4 d5 after 2 ex d5 qx d5. Black's queen enters the game very early. A good thing about the Scandinavian is that it's a low fury opening, which which also gives black the choice between the aggressive or the solid setups. And in the first case, the queen goes to a5, and the later position causes it to go even black to d8. After that, black can complete development with no problems and get good position. That wasn't one. Anyway, white has some subtle ways to get an upper hand here, but overall it is very playable for black even at the highest level, while at beginner's level it will take your opponents out of the comfort zone immediately. We're gonna skip this. French defense. This is definitely one of the best openings for beginners. With the French, you will learn about space advantage, pawn chains, maneuvering in close positions, bad and good pieces, outputs, and so on. It starts with 1e4, e6, when white can occupy the center for the second pawn, but black immediately breaks into the center with d2, d5. The typical French pawn structure arises while white eventually closes the position by pushing the pawn forward from e4 to e6. After that, the center gets closed to both sides, start playing on the flanks. This is a common scenario in chess, and by studying the French defense, you can understand what to do in such situations. Let's see something real quick. Oh, sweet. Maybe called it something. Let's move this back over here. Okay. Queen's cannon.
Insurance. 2 mountain goats. And 3. It's easy to switch at geico.com. You could save hundreds. Gooch.
Okay, now we'll go to the... Alright.
My student, Michael, had the black pieces. Okay, so we'll see how he plays the Roy Lopez. Okay, e4, e5, knight f3, knight to c6. And now when white brings his bishop to b5, okay, which doesn't happen in this game, this is the Roy Lopez. All right. So, a very typical response for black is to play a6. All right, can everybody agree with that? All right. So if you were playing white in this position, there are two very common moves here. One is superior than the other.
We're going to go back to the start here. Okay.
Thank you very much. Today we'll be going over the Roy Lopez. Alright, we'll show you what you should play, how not to play it, and we'll get on with the games, alright? Alright, so in our first game, my student Michael had the black pieces. Okay, so we'll see how he plays the Roy Lopez. Okay, e4, e5, knight f3, knight to c6. And now when white brings his bishop to b5, okay, doesn't happen in this game. This is the Roy Lopez. All right. So, a very typical response for black is to play A6. All right, can everybody agree with that? All right, so if you were playing white in this position, there are two very common moves here. One is superior than the other. Okay, so what are one of the two moves you're thinking about? Capture the knight. Excellent. So that's the move that is highly recommended. And now you are doubling black's pawns here, okay? So now he's got double pawns. Everybody understand? All right. So
yeah, that makes sense.
He gave him double pawns, but he's got two bishops now, all right? And they're both active. All right, so where do you think this bishop wants to go really, really bad? G4, right? But the reason why he can't go to G4 right now is it's not his turn, right? All right, so everybody's like, well, I could bring out my knight, I could castle, but then guess what? He can play the move bishop to G4. Dangerous, okay? Very, very dangerous. I don't know if I've showed this yet. I don't think I have. But white could actually, if he's like, oh, well, please go away, black doesn't even have to move his bishop to H5 here. He can simply play the move H5. All right, so now everybody at home shouting, take the bishop, take the bishop. All right, so he takes, and now black takes, and now he's opening up this H file. So after knight takes pawn, right, what does black do to threaten?
It's time to take control of your journey towards chess mastery.
So
Magnus
many
Carlsen
ads.
introduces chess,
So many
the
ads.
definitive solution.
Checkmate. Queen to H4, threatening checkmate. Not just one checkmate, but two checkmates. Queen to H2 checkmate, queen to H1 checkmate. So now we have to figure out a move that stops both of the checkmates. Okay? So if you're like, well, let's just play knight takes pawn, well, that does stop one checkmate, but not the other. Okay? So we need a move that stops both the checkmates. Is there any? I see one. You see it? F3. Oh, there's actually two moves, yes. Yeah, you could play F3 or F4. Genius, all right. But F3 is the most common. And they're both horrible. And now, okay, so he just played F3. So now his king can flee to safety if the queen goes to H2 or H1, okay? Obviously the king can't go there now because the queen's got the square, right? Okay, so how do we want to stop the king from fleeing this way? And I bet I know what you're gonna say. Well, let's check him. So who would we check him with? The bishop. But does that work? No. He plays D4. So let's not check him with the bishop. All right, so we want to stop the king from getting to F2, right? So what move can we play? Pawn to G3. Excellent. And now he's in a world of hurt. Now he's back on the two checkmates. And so I'll play rook to E1. That stops one of the checkmates, but not the second. So what move? Queen to H1, checkmate. Yep. Resigns. Yeah, resigns was recommended a long time ago, okay? Resigns was recommended when he castled and allowed his bishop to come to G4. So what move should we play as white here? H3. If you all want to play super good, this is the move you would make. You would play H3. And now, the whole purpose of all of this is after D4 and takes, let's say we trade off all the pieces here, okay? So, okay, let's say this is the position you get to. So in the position, you traded off your D pawn for his E pawn, okay? This black D pawn for his E pawn, okay? The white D pawn for the black E pawn, okay? And you trade off all the other material, okay? And you get to this position. All right? Why is this favorable for white than for black? Because of these junky double pawns, right? All right. So these guys cannot create a passed pawn, even though that's not true. But these foursome can't do it unless white really messes up. And I'll show you the example of how white really messes up. But white can easily create a passed pawn. So if white wants to create a passed pawn, pretends that these kings can't move, okay? How would he create a passed pawn in this position? All right, so white has a pawn majority. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Who do you think, which ones of these white's pawns are going to become a queen, you think? Are going to get passed? This little guy,
No.
this guy, this
Yes.
guy, or this guy? Who do you think has the best chance to become a passed pawn? A passed pawn is basically when there's no pawns on the same file and no pawns on the adjourning files, on the lining files right there. So he can just go and no pawn can take him, no pawn can get in his way. He's got a clear shot. That's why he's a passed pawn. So who do you think's got the best chance?
F2.
The E pawn, right. All right, so how would we go about trying to create a passed pawn here for white?
Oops.
Yeah, push the majority forward, okay? Yeah, king can't move. And then we just keep moving the pawns. And now we got a passed pawn, okay?
Okay, so it is that.
Black's only way to create a passed pawn in this position is to do this old trick. And it has nothing to do with having an extra pawn here. All right, so if it's black to move here, has anybody seen this pawn trick before?
Yeah, I've seen it.
All right, so we have 2. Steven, have you ever seen this pawn trick? All right, so it's going to be news to somebody, all right? Okay, so it's black to move, and, well, assuming this pawn wasn't here, it'd be black to move and win. Let's just say, for the sake of everything. Now it's black to move and win, okay? All right, black to move here, okay? So he's got these 3 pawns lined up and these 3 pawns lined up. It has to be this exact position or else the trick won't work. Okay, so he's really close to becoming a queen, okay? But he's got these 3 little guys right in front of him, unfortunately. So we need to distract them, all right? So if you haven't seen the puzzle, it's kind of tough to figure out. But I'll give you a hint. The first move, well, I'll give you a hint. The first move is pushing the middle pawn, okay? So now obviously if I take and I take back, you take back, we take back, nothing gained, nothing lost, okay? So that's not the solution, okay? We're going to force one of these 3 pawns through, okay? So when we play B3 here, let's say he takes with the A pawn, okay? So now, of these 2 pawns, okay, the A pawn or the C pawn, which do you think has a better chance of becoming a queen possibly? The one that you know, he's got a pawn on the same line as him, or the one where he doesn't have a pawn on the same line as him? The A pawn, because look, there's nobody here to stop him. All right, the C pawn is stopping that C pawn. So if this guy is so valuable, right, you probably don't want to lose him, okay? So you then push this guy. All right, and so wow, I'm threatening to take the B2 pawn here. So better take it. And now, what move should we make with this A pawn?
Go down. Yep.
Well,
Smart.
there's actually 2 moves you can make with it. But yeah, the superior one is wow. And then he's got a clear shot to victory, okay?
Actually made a lot of
So
sense.
if you look at that position, it doesn't matter which way you take with here. You can take with the C pawn, and then you just advance the opposite one, okay? And then you got the clear shot to victory, all right? So that's why you play the Roy Lopez exchange variation, okay? All right, so here's the game. Michael Shaw, he had the white piece.
So we're about to go through the game here. We'll see what you say here.
And I've told them this about 1,000,000 times here. All right, so what do you think he plays after A6? Obviously, obviously. And so now you're just asking black to just attack you again, no questions. And that bishop here. And now, if black really wanted to say, I'm getting rid of your light square bishop, no matter what move would he play here? Like, no matter what, you're not going to have a light square bishop anymore. Knight to A5. Excellent, okay? Loses a pawn. So don't play that. Let's see if it really loses a pawn. And there's no way I'm getting this pawn back. All right. Good luck. It looks like I'm getting my pawn back. I'm getting it back. I'm doing it. Yeah, with interest. Interest. Yeah, you're too young to understand interest right now. But it's good. Especially if you're getting it. It's very good. All right, so you can do that, all right? But you don't have to, all right? And so now your bishop is on this long diagonal. So you could have just attacking F7. If you wanted to put him there in the first place, you should have just played bishop to C4, as we'll see in the next game. All right, so his opponent just calmly plays knight F6, okay? So castle, now knight takes the pawn. So white could play D4, or he could just get his rook over on this action file here and attack the knight. So when knight goes backwards, so now, yeah, this pawn is in a pin. It's not going to do much here. So we could just attack it, okay? But white decides to take it, all right? So now takes. So once again, this knight is in a pin. It's not going anywhere. We can just attack it again, okay? But you can't wait to take it. So rook takes E5, check, bishop E7. So which piece is in a pin here? The bishop, good. What should we do to the pin pieces? Attack them, good. So what move should we make here? Yeah, queen E2 or E1, it's undetermined which one we should actually go to, because maybe, even though we probably do want the rook on a1 to eventually go to e1. We might want to just put our queen to e1 in case he starts attacking our rook. Okay. But I mean, it really doesn't matter. But yeah, we should play our queen on this file so it prevents him from castling. So queen e2 or queen to e1. Queen e1 might give this rook better, more spaces to go to. All right, but instead he's like, I'm going to play a trick. And this is not a trick. I went to a Scholastic tournament this weekend, and it's like whenever they attack something, okay, they get a big grin on their face, like they're doing a trick. Is this queen f3? Is this a trick? No. It's attacking the rook. But it's not really a trick. It's just an attack. No, but it's not like yeah, Hong Kai, our regular here, he was the best new player. And I seen one kid grinning ear to ear when he attacked his bishop with the rook. And yeah, it's like, it's not a trick, buddy. He's just gonna move his bishop, and then you got nothing. All right, so obviously he just plays here, and that was your attack. Way to go, okay? Right, so, no, c6 is the best. So d4, and so now what can black do? And now he's very happy. Castle. All right, but just because you're in a castle doesn't mean you're going to be necessarily safe here, as we'll see. All right, so bishop attacks the knight. So now bishop attacks the rook here. So first things first is he takes the dude, even though it's in a pin, and then queen takes. And now we have a decision. Everybody knows what move I would make in this position, right? I would just take the queen. And now his pawns are all garbage, and I would play rook here. Yeah, I play rook there, and
yeah, I don't think I would do
everything would be
that.
okay. And if he plays rook
I
to
don't think I
e8,
would do that one.
and he gets a big smile on his face, what move? Or what move would I make here? No, I would, well, knight to c3, but then he plays that move. All right, good. And then I'm going to go here and pump into there. Good, excellent. So you play knight to c3 here to stop the checkmate, okay? All right, sounds good. And then white, oh, the computer's got to love white here. Well, what are you going to do with it? Yes, as one of our, well, it doesn't even like, the computer doesn't know what it's talking about sometimes. Yep. So the reason why they apparently like black in that position is because they'll have the open G file. All right. All right. So instead of taking queen takes, as it should, white decides he's going to play rook to f5. He's on the attack, so we didn't want to trade anybody. Okay. So now black plays queen to g6. Failing to see that queen to h6 threatened checkmate. Yeah. And also queen takes h whatever, h2 down there. So when he plays queen to g6, now white's like, I'm going to attack you. All right, h4. And now he's like, I should have played there in the first place. So now he's attacking this h-pawn and queen check. All right, let's see if he cares. I don't think he's going to care. All right, he does care. Okay, so he plays knight to c3. Good. All right. Yeah, so he better care. Yeah, he better care. You better care. Yeah, if somebody's threatening a big, nasty, scary check down there, you better do something to prevent it. Yeah, especially when it's going to end in checkmate. Yes, excellent. All right, so bishop to b7. So now white doesn't have to worry about any of black's attacks. So now he can proceed with his own attack. Which square are a lot of his pieces going after right now? F7, the weakest square in chess. All right, so let's take it. Rook takes. So black's like, I don't care, whatever, I'll take. So queen takes check, and now the king moves over. This, unfortunately, is not checkmate because the rook can come and get me. Well, that's a bummer, though. So now, what do you think white should play here? All right, so what do you suggest, Julian? Knight a4. Knight e4. All right, so I like just taking everything. All right, but he plays rook to e1 because he's like, this is going to be checkmate. So he can't resist threatening checkmate. Okay, which I understand. Right. So black has one good move in this position. The rest are garbage, okay? Rook f8 is highly recommended here, okay? Highly recommended, all right? So, yeah, so unfortunately this, because black is not in check right now, he can do whatever he wants, including devastating queen to c1 checkmate. Okay, so black has a decent idea, like I want to trade queens, but he just doesn't go about it the right way. So he plays his rook all the way up to check here, which once again is no good. He needs to be taking stuff. Take stuff. It's always fun, okay? And then it's like, it's not even a trick. It's a good move. All right, yeah, so let's say he wants to save this bishop somehow. And you don't want to save it like bishop to c8, do you? No. Yeah, or you could just be like Julian and just humiliate these guys. Checkmate. So when you have this back row checkmate in play, a lot of cool things can happen. So if he plays rook to b8 here, now you have a lot of different ways you can win. Basically, if you look, this is under attack one way. It'd be really funny if we could attack it a second way and attack something else at the same time. That's the trick. Okay? And that's a real trick. That's something you can really smile about. Because there's no matter what he does, he's going to lose a piece. That's when you need to be smiling and slamming the pieces, not oh, I attacked you. All right, so let's name some ways we can start attacking this dark squared bishop and winning it. I agree. Yeah, or you could just play knight to e4. All right, there's a lot of cool ways. And no matter what, when he moves his queen, we take. Well, of course we take with the knight. We don't want to trade when we're on the attack. All right, but those are just some ideas, okay? But you got to take stuff, all right? So anyway, so after queen to f6, he loves this check. But by checking and trading the rooks, it relieved all the pressure, all right? So now he's just like, okay, you're out. So now, do you think he's finally going to take this pawn here? Yes. All right, better late than never, okay? So let's see what's going to happen. So his bishop's under attack. So there's a couple different ways. He could play bishop to a8, bishop to c8, or he can just bring his queen over here and whatever. He's set. So, suspicious move. Even more suspicious taking it. Okay, yeah. So obviously in this move he wants to play c5 so he can play c4 and trap the bishop. All right, so takes. So he just wants to take, and now he might get into a bishop of opposite color endgame, which are always draws. So always so, and I'll explain why in a minute here. All right, so if they can stop from being checkmated here, he might have a chance to draw even though he's down 2 pawns. But we'll see. So queen to f8 here, g3. They likes it back better over there again. So.
Let's see here. We can do this video. I think we're going to listen to this video, and I'll see after this if I want to play a couple games. I might go ahead and play one game or something, but we'll see.
You've come to the right place. Throughout the course of this video, we're going to cover basic, intermediate, and advanced opening concepts, and so whatever your current rating level is, you're going to get something out of it. Let's just jump right in. At the very beginning of the game, it's considered good to put 1 pawn or 2 in the center, followed by the movement of your knights and bishops and getting your king to safety. So, in a perfect world, that looks something like this. Both knights come out. Important to move the bishop to the center of the board before moving this pawn to get this bishop out, because if you do that, you block in your bishop. Put the bishop in the center. Let's say I don't. I'll play something a little bit more passive. Now you can castle your king, or do this. It's not extremely important just yet. Let's say black castles. Now d3, and the bishop comes out. In the future, you can then make a quick queen move and connect your rooks. And what that will look like is something like this. Just get the bishop out here, and now the rooks are connected and come to the center of the board. That's a very, very quick onboarding process. One more thing I should say about this position is that you don't necessarily have to castle the king the short way. You can castle queenside, you can castle long. Also, we started with a king's pawn, but if you want to play a queen's pawn opening, that's completely fine. And then play knight, bishop, and the same stuff. 2 pawns in the center if possible, but if not, then okay, you'll just have to go 1 square. When we flip the board as well, we can look at this from black's perspective. And let's say you have the black pieces. You do the very, very same thing. The only difference when you play black, whether they play king's pawn, queen's pawn, is that you are reacting to their moves. And there's little tricks with some venom in them when you play the black pieces. For example, the scholar's mate, the 4-move checkmate. The weak square near your king has to be guarded. And so when they play knight out, attacking your pawn, and you go like this, there's this move. And so it's sometimes actually better to bring the bishop out before the knight, because there's something called the fried liver attack, which I'm not going to study too deeply in this video, but if you're a beginning player, you should definitely go explore what the fried liver attack is. It's when white plays this very aggressive move and just tries to destroy your setup very early. So when you play black, there's a little bit more venom. I mean, there's even ridiculous stuff like queen h5, where they try to attack you and also try to set up the 4-move mate. But if you get all of the responses down, you're going to be just fine. Developing in the center, both knights, the bishop, castle, the second bishop, and so on. That's just a very, very quick run-through with the white and the black side in a couple of minutes of how you should be playing the first 5-10 moves of the game.
In business, it's never just another day. With Comcast Business, you get the network that can deliver gig speeds to the most businesses and advanced cybersecurity to protect every device on it. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Okay, let's start adding another layer to this. Let's flip the board back to the white side. And now, this is probably going to be more useful for the people that are going into the intermediate phase of chess understanding, not just the beginners. Chess has 2 types of openings: setup-based openings and theory-based openings. A setup-based opening is an opening that you can...
I'm actually going to have to cut this one short because I have to go help somebody real quick. I might be able to do a later stream, kind of part 2 of this, or I might decide to stream something else. But if you want to hear, you could check out my Twitter or Discord for any updates on that. But I definitely plan to continue this, and we'll play some games on the next time or later today, just depending on time and how everything else goes. But unfortunately, I'm gonna have to cut this one short. So I'll see you on